Hello everyone, welcome to my new video. In this video, I'll show you step by step how to create the paper animation effect you see on screen using After Effects. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. If you're ready, let's jump straight into the tutorial. Now first, let's create a new composition and give it a name. Then, drag our paper background video into the workspace. Here, the background whites look a bit too strong. To fix this, apply the curves effect to the layer and slightly reduce the brightness of the whites. Now let's add a subtle darkening around the edges. For this, apply the CC Vignette effect to the layer. Make small adjustments to the settings until you find the best look. Once everything looks good, you can toggle the FX button on and off to clearly see the difference. Now let's add our text. You can type any text you want here. I'll be using Motion Spark. Next, I move the text's anchor point to the center. Then, using the Align tool, I place the text exactly in the center of the composition. Now I open the scale settings and adjust the size. To create a different look, I unlink the scale values by disabling the chain icon and stretch the text vertically. To help the text stand out more from the background, let's add a drop shadow effect. Finally, I'll quickly add the remaining text elements and position them properly. Now select the drop shadow effect and copy it. Then select the other text layers and paste the same effect onto them as well. This way, all text will have a consistent look and feel, more unified within the scene. Now let's begin animating the text layers one by one. Now select the first text layer and temporarily hide the other texts. Open the position and rotation properties and add a keyframe. Move forward 10 frames and add another keyframe. Repeat this process 2 more times. Now go back to the first keyframe. Set the rotation value to 3 and move the text below the frame. Go to the next keyframe, set the rotation to -3 and move the text down again. At the next keyframe, set the rotation back to 3 and move the text slightly upward. For the next keyframe, set the rotation to -2. Now move 20 frames forward and set the rotation to 1. You can continue this process based on the duration of your animation. Right now, the text smoothly rotates while moving upward, but that's not the result we want. So select all keyframes and apply Toggle Hold Keyframe. This removes the smooth transitions between keyframes and only keeps movement at each keyframe point. This creates a cleaner, sharper motion that fits the paper animation style better. Now we apply the same process to the other text layers as well. To avoid making the video unnecessarily long, I'll speed through the repeated steps. We're simply repeating the exact same process we just used, without doing anything different. You only need to make small adjustments depending on the position of each text layer. Looks good, but there's a small issue here. All the text layers are moving at the same time, which doesn't look very appealing. To fix this, we offset all text layers by 4 frames. This way, the texts animate one after another, creating a much smoother and more pleasing result. Now let's bring the character image into the workspace. Open the scale property and enlarge it. Then, place the paper green screen effect right below the image layer. Here, we need to remove the blue background. For that, apply the key light effect to the layer. Use the eyedropper in the screen color section to select the blue area. This will quickly remove the blue background. Now let's select the image layer and pre-compose it. Then duplicate the image layer to create a copy. Set the paper green screen layer as a track matte for the image layer. Next, select both paper and image layers and pre-compose them again, and name it Paper. Now duplicate the paper layer. Move the image layer under the paper layers. This time, set the image layer as a track matte for the paper layer. Then apply the key light effect to the paper layer. Use the eyedropper in screen color to select the green screen and remove the background. This way, the paper effect is applied to the image layer. Now let's adjust the timing of when the paper and image layers appear. Now we adjust the timing of when the paper and image layers appear. As you may notice, after a while the image disappears. Let's fix this issue. We double-click the paper layer to go inside it. The problem here is that the paper video is too short, so when it ends, the image also disappears. To fix this, we select the video layer. Then go to the Time menu and choose Enable Time Remapping. This creates two keyframes, Start and End. Here, we grab the end of the video and stretch it to the end of the composition. This way, the paper effect stays active throughout the entire duration, and we easily fix the disappearing issue. Now let's double-click the image layer to open it. Open the rotation property and add a keyframe. Now here, add a total of 6 keyframes with 20 frame intervals. This way, we'll create a subtle rotation animation for the layer. Now select all keyframes and apply Toggle Hold Keyframe. This makes the movement sharper and more suitable for the paper animation style. Now let's add a white stroke around the edges of the image. Select the layer and go to Layer greater than Layer Style greater than Stroke. Open the stroke settings and change the color to white. Then increase the size value to adjust the stroke thickness. Now let's go back to the main composition and make a quick render preview to check the result. Great! Everything looks good so far. Now, finally, let's add the social media icons. First, drag the YouTube icon into the workspace. Open the Scale property and resize it to a suitable size. Now go to the beginning of the timeline and open both rotation and position properties to add keyframes. For the first keyframe, set the rotation value to 5. Move forward 10 frames, set the rotation value to -5, and adjust its position. Move forward another 10 frames, set the rotation back to 5, and change the position again. Repeat the same process one more time. Set the rotation to -5 and adjust the position. Finally, move forward 10 more frames, and with the layer selected, go to Edit greater than Split Layer to cut the layer and delete the ending part. Now select all keyframes and apply Toggle Hold Keyframe. While on the last keyframe, move forward 20 frames, duplicate the layer, and move it to the front. Finally, select both layers and align them with the exact moment the character turns. This way, the icons will appear more dynamic and naturally synced with the scene. Now we apply the same process to the other social media icons as well. To avoid making the video unnecessarily long, I'll speed through this part. We're simply repeating the exact same steps we just used, without any extra changes. So you probably won't have any difficulties here. But if you do get stuck, you can always rewind the video and follow the steps again. Great, now let's select the social media layers and place them below the character layer. Here, we don't want all the icons to appear at the same time, so we arrange them one by one with 4 frame intervals. This way, the icons enter the scene sequentially, creating a much smoother and more pleasing animation. Now there's only one final step left. Create a new solid layer and name it Fractal Noise. Then find the fractal noise effect and apply it to the solid layer. Open the transform settings and reduce the scale value. Next, increase the contrast and lower the brightness slightly. To add motion, hold the Alt key and click on Evolution. In the expression field, type time times 1000. However, the movement here looks too smooth and fast. We want a more choppy, stop-motion style movement to better match the paper animation aesthetic. So let's apply the posterized time effect to the solid layer and set the frame rate to 8. This makes the animation play at a lower frame rate, giving it a more authentic paper animation feel. Finally, set the solid layer's blending mode to screen. Press T on the keyboard to open opacity and set it to 50. This adds a subtle texture and movement, making the animation feel much more polished and professional. Now finally, let's select all layers and enable motion blur. This small detail will make the animation transitions look much smoother and more professional. And that's it! We've completed our paper animation tutorial from start to finish. Throughout this tutorial, we learned many techniques together, from layer animations and paper effects to text motion and small finishing details. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to see more After Effects tutorials like this, make sure to turn on notifications. See you in the next video with new and more creative projects.